Okay, Monday, 4th of May, 2026, so Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Study Bitcoin harder. You're not studying Bitcoin hard enough. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. You're not studying Bitcoin hard enough. I can basically guarantee that the vast majority of people in the world right now, even those who are watching the video, are not studying Bitcoin hard enough. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Why? Shock and awe. There's there's a whole myriad of reasons. But we could say right now that a simple shock and awe. There are things happening in the world on such a grand geopolitical scale. Iran accepting Bitcoin. US government or US Navy having Bitcoin nodes. Russia and China more than likely probably secretly mining Bitcoin. Bhutan has been mining Bitcoin for a decade now at least. Strategy, buying entire weeks and months worth of supply of Bitcoin like that through its financial instruments. All these players, big geopolitical players, movers, shakers, have studied Bitcoin hard enough that they have come to that conclusion that they want to allocate time, energy, resources into Bitcoin. So the signal is abundantly clear. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. The vast majority of FOMO in the space, fear, uncertainty and doubt, so to speak, the FUD even, has been disproven, debunked a decade ago. Easily. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. Years ago. Through market developments, through infrastructure, through things happening. So the fear and doubt and uncertainty you have today is based on things a decade ago. These big players in the world aren't thinking these exact same things. Oh, was it scam? Oh, this and that and that. And there's who invented it? Who created it? All these things, these noise. These aren't questions anymore. They're FUD. They're noise at best. And it's just this was solved a decade ago. This was solved 5 years ago. This is a case study against it, proving it wrong 7 years ago. Things like that. Hence why study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. You're not studying Bitcoin hard enough. You're not studying Bitcoin hard enough. You're not studying Bitcoin hard enough. Now, you have to understand and study Bitcoin for the way the world, because the way the world is going with regards to trust. That's the fundamental thing there at play in the geopolitical grand scheme level. Case study, late February, early March 2022. Russia goes into Ukraine. A week or 2 or 3 later, America freezes Russian money, essentially showing that the dollar can be weaponized, destroying trust. So the incentive then, the game theory then is, what alternative payment networks are there that you don't have to trust anyone? Don't need to trust the Chinese, the Russian, the American, who knows who else, trusting a third party for your payments to go through. That's the geopolitical angle. So you have to study Bitcoin harder to understand the repercussions of that incentive, that motivation, that game theory. Fidelity did a great article a couple of years ago now, I think 2022. On page 7 or 8, it talks about the Bitcoin flywheel, this Bitcoin game theory behind it. More users, more people that understand the first principles, the higher the price, the more users. The more users, the more infrastructure, including mining, therefore more securities. The more infrastructure there is, the more reasons there are to use it, because you can do more with Bitcoin, as in you can build on it. More companies and banks in the future will be using Bitcoin's STRC, MicroStrategy's STRC product as a white label to brand it in their own way for their own products and services. I did a video, I think 6, 8, 10, 12 months ago, at least, talking about how when Amazon goes into Bitcoin, they'll have their own wallet. When Apple goes into it, they may use it as collateral on their balance sheet for bonds in some fashion. And who's using it nowadays? Well, Christ, I mean, so many companies out there that are accepting it for wine and beef and product. There's an event every weekend or so here, Bitcoin Farmers Market. People come together buying stuff, artisanal stuff with Bitcoin. Bhutan have been hodling and mining for a decade. El Salvador here stacking all the time. America has roughly 300,000 Bitcoin. China has roughly I think 280, 290, things like that. The geopolitical level, things are happening. And if you're still stuck behind on FOMO and FUD from a decade ago, then it proves you need to study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Why? I did a video about this as well, actually. Rocco's Basilisk. The level of regret that you'll feel, at least, that's an emotional angle, emotional appeal, but the level of regret you'll have by not studying this, utilizing this, going onto a Bitcoin standard yesterday, will create such immense amount of regret and pain. And I say pain in a warning, in a kind of danger, be careful. But I say pain in an emotional appeal. But also the logical angle would be, by not studying this technology, you're falling victim to the central banking, inflation. Nowadays we'd call this actually the debasement rate. You're falling victim to that. Your purchasing power is going to be cut in half between 10 and 25 years, depending on the inflation rate. But in 10, 25 years, the price of Bitcoin could be anywhere, in the millions easily, at this current trajectory. What a hell of a way to preserve your wealth. That's the killer app, by the way, of Bitcoin. That's the main reason to go into Bitcoin, wealth preservation into the long term. And I've done videos about this in the past. Hence why I say, study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder. There's an entire playlist of videos I have already on here, dozens of videos. First one I did in February 2023. So, and this is the amazing thing, I guess it is indicative of human nature. All this, the videos, the podcasts, the PDFs, everything's out there. You're just going to read it and stitch it all together. But it's human nature in some fashion, and a path of least resistance, stuff like that. But the fundamental thing is, study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder. People talk about you have to do 40 hours of podcasts. Maybe so. Maybe. Because fundamentally it's apex predator in finance. Nothing comes close to Bitcoin in terms of first principles. I did a video about this as well a month or two or three ago, looking at Bitcoin through the lens of opportunity cost of capital. Nothing comes close to beating it in the long term. Nothing. In the long term. Short term, on a daily chart, monthly chart, maybe sure, this and that and that and this, hard to predict. But on a yearly chart, on a decade chart, there's no competition. For me to say with ultimate conviction, it's the apex predator in finance, has taken me a long time to get to. And that same level of conviction is kind of out there in the abstract, philosophical way, waiting for you. You need to study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder, study Bitcoin harder. US Navy did, Russian government did, Chinese government did, Bhutan did, El Salvador is. If those strategy is Metaplanet in Japan, those two companies are and did, what's stopping you? At an academic level, what's stopping you? All these big Fidelity, what are they called? JP Morgan are, what's stopping you? And that's a very academic question to ask. If these big geopolitical players and banks and companies at a high level, talking in the billions, are, as an academic, even as an investor, you need to study Bitcoin harder. You need to study Bitcoin harder. You need to study Bitcoin harder. This in part is a bit of a plea, kind of, but predominantly a warning. Like that video I did, Rocco's Basilisk. It's a warning. It's a hell of a warning. I did another video as well, actually. Woe to he who rejects Bitcoin, for the wrath of 1,000 bankers be upon him. Nicely poetic, little biblical, but point still stands. It goes beyond just warning, and in a sense of, I did a video actually about this 2 years ago, I think. Study Bitcoin like your life depends on it, because you've got no idea. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. Study Bitcoin harder. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff mentioned no. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.